Good morning. Welcome to our multi-platform worship service. I'm Worship Associate Jill Salkin, and it's my honor to be co-leading our service today with Sharon Fisher. We want to express a big thank you to Heath Allen for providing music, to Mike Foy for running our AV tech today, and to Elizabeth Ann Terry, our Director of Religious Exploration, who will be presenting a story for all ages. Thanks to Jill Sutherland and Lena White, who will be assisting with childcare. A few small announcements before we begin. Please silence any cell phones so that we may be as present as possible in this space. Restrooms are located at the rear of the sanctuary, down the stairs to the right, or the mechanical lift to the left. An usher can help you navigate either option. We are streaming live, and if you are joining us online, you can choose to toggle on the closed captions by clicking the CC button at the bottom of your Zoom screen. This is a UU congregation, which means we are people of many differences, different faith traditions, different racial identities, different gender expressions, and all of different ways of moving and in and showing up in the world. And we are people of togetherness who make covenant promises to be together and to act with love for transformation, liberation, and healing. The theme for our services during this month of March is trust. Today's service will focus on how we trust one another and the tools we use to covenant and build faith and trust as a community. May our gratitude and intentions be guiding lights for us this morning. Let us worship together.
Oops, I'm a lot shorter. Okay. I'd like to read our land acknowledgement from the Unitarian Universalists of Mount Airy. Our building sits on the traditional unceded Lenni Lenape lands of Lenapehoking. As many of us are settlers, immigrants, or descendants of those forcefully brought to this continent, we, the members of the UUs of Mount Airy, must recognize and never forget this reality. Our congregation's livelihood and history are a part of the colonization of the Lenape territory, which includes all of present-day New Jersey, northern Delaware, eastern Pennsylvania, and southeastern New York. The translation of Lenape is original people, while presently the majority of Lenape are located in Oklahoma, and both along with the federally recognized Delaware Nation and Delaware Tribe of Indians, we are their neighbors. We will work to continue to honor and be in relationship with our neighbors, both historical and current, and we will strive to be good stewards of this land. We are committed to continuing to educate ourselves on issues of cultural competency, colonization, and oppression. We are committed to supporting a community food pantry to address local food insecurity. We have created a community garden and natural sanctuary on this land to deepen our connection to the earth and with our neighbors.
In UU congregations, we light a chalice to celebrate our coming together in love, to mark the sacred space and time of our community, and invite the Spirit into our lives. We invite you to light a candle wherever you are today and read along with us here in the sanctuary. We will read the chalice lighting words by Reverend Scott Taylor as Sharon lights our chalice. We light this flame as an act of faith, a reminder, a redeclaration, a rekindling of the trust that darkness can't ever shut out the light, that kindness is more powerful than we know, that humility and accountability allow us to change, that together we can most certainly bend the arc of this miraculous universe toward beauty, toward justice, toward love. Our opening hymn will be presented by the Restoration Singers by Heath Allen.
I was asked to just say a little something about it. This song is from my Mother Tree Cantata, which was performed recently for Tudish Schwab. free spirit kind of goes away, which has been animating this long cantata. And the last line is, or do we just accept our fate? And a child turns to the audience and says, well, do we just accept our fate? Or do we get together and do something about it? And so this song is about making a covenant to the future generations, about that we are going to get together now and do something about it for the future. L'adore, vador. And there's a sing-along part in it. It was originally Green Can Be Our Future, and Let's Start Now. But when the wildfires started in California recently, I changed it to Green Must Be Our Future. And let's start now. And you'll be asked to join us. You all ready?
Beautifully done. Thank you so much. Part of our being a community is learning to share the authentic and vulnerable parts of ourselves with others, to see and be seen, to know and be known. We make space today for that sharing, all of which helps to build this congregation into beloved community. We invite you to share what's going on in your life, to name your feelings and the people in your heart and in need of prayer, good energy, best wishes, and other help. We invite you to get into your body and investigate what emotions you're experiencing, to share them as you feel called, so we can help one another hold our joys, our grief, our in-between feelings. We build community by celebrating our good things, mourning our troubles, taking risks, and listening deeply. For our online sharing, we invite you who are on Zoom to share what you're feeling this week and to lift up the names of those about whom you are thinking in the chat. If you would like us to share your joy or sorrow out loud, please include the word share in your message. And for those in our sanctuary, we ask that you come up one at a time by the side aisle to pick up a stone or stones from the basket. Infuse or charge it with your joy or sorrow and place it in the bowl of water, where its energy will ripple out to be held by all of us. This morning, we invite you to take a moment to witness how your stone nestles next to the stones of others, and how all are surrounded by the water that symbolizes our community's shared grief and joy. If you'd like to share something important in your heart, please speak directly into the microphone and be mindful that we are broadcasting to the internet. All are welcome to participate in any of these ways, and for those who have gathered virtually, Sharon will add stones on your behalf. We will then sit in silence and hold all these joys and sorrows together. The sacred space of deep sharing is open.
Hello, my name is Annie, and I would like to send big love out to Gary Sobolo.
I am Beth, and I am just terrified about what our government is doing to Ukraine right now.
I'm Kathy, and my roommate passed away suddenly of a heart attack a week ago today, and I'm thinking of Nola and her family.
Bernadette, I just want to say thank you for all the prayers and support that you shared with me getting through this trial. And as many of you know, I was dropped from the case, and it's still going on, and it should go to the jury this week. And this month is the anniversary, 5 years from my mom's death. And I walked the labyrinth this week as an assignment for my homework in my end-of-life doula certification. And it was very healing, and I realized that I had an expectation of what her death should have looked like, and I think she was happy with what it was.
My name is Aviva, and I wanted to share that my best friend was recently diagnosed with a brain aneurysm, but she's okay. It was found, she has a family history, and so I am joyful and so thankful that we have the tools and the means by which to diagnose and treat early.
My name is Annabelle. I'm very grateful and happy to be here this morning in a community that gathers around to support each other and love each other.
My name is Tim. I'm always happy to be here. And I'm really happy because I'm joined by the staff and of UU Justice PA. And that's Clara Jenkins is here with us, and she's our acting director. And Bill Clinton, who's the president. Arlie Henninger Voss, she's around here somewhere. She's our legislative person. And we're here to meet with Steve Preston from the William Penn Foundation after this service.
Morning, I'm Ann. The stone is for my grandchildren because of what we're living in, and that it may improve. And I'm just grateful because when I spent 2 weeks running to doctors, dentists, being with people who have to see whether or not they need to get a biopsy or whatever, and I'm not good about checking in with people when I'm in that space, and I'm so grateful I can come here and be connected anyway. Thank you.
And now Sharon will add a final stone for all those joys and sorrows not shared out loud, but held in the sacred quiet of our hearts. Thank you. And now it's time to have our religious educator, Elizabeth Ann Turry, to present a story for all ages.
Who wants to come up front with me? Children of all ages. Call it children of all ages. Oh, come closer. Come closer. Come closer. So last month we did a lot about loving ourselves. We continue to do that. And we're talking this month about trust. And we're going to read this book. What's the name of this book? Yes. Yes. More of Me to Love. I think I need 3 hands at the moment, but we'll see how I do. More of Me to Love. It is a book by Jade Maitre, and it's illustrated by Violet Lim. Maybe one of the parents could hold my mic. All right. That's excellent. When I was born, the doctor said, "That's a chubby baby." The nurse said, "What a healthy-looking child. A real bonny babe." My mother said, "There's more of her to love." As I've grown, I've always known my mother's words to be true. I am kind and healthy and strong. There's so much of me to love. I care about others and their feelings. I help when I see they need me. I can help because I watch for the little signs that show they need kindness, even if they haven't asked me yet. I notice when my friends and family need kisses and hugs. I am very cuddly. My body is my own. There are no other bodies like it in the whole world. Nobody is the same. Like stars or snowflakes or seashells, every one of us is different and beautiful. All of us belong and make the world interesting and special. But in many ways, we are also the same. We all have hearts and bodies and souls. Some of these things we are born with. They make us unique and create our stories and strengths. Some parts of us we are not born with. We can nurture these as we grow, like seeds in a beautiful garden. I do my best to create my garden exactly the way I'd like it. A place that feels good to sit in, that feels sunny and quiet and pulsing with happy life. You're doing such a good job. Other people's gardens are different to mine, and that makes sense because we are all different people and we all like different things. I am grateful for all the things my body can do. It turns food into energy, which is a kind of miracle. When I move fast, I can feel the blood surging in me, and I know that I am powerful. Her little dress says, I heart my body. When I sit still, my mind makes pictures and stories in my imagination. I can create whole worlds in my mind. When I am on a seesaw, I am the one who gets to push my legs up. And then I come down and I see my friend laughing from high in the air. I enjoy eating lots of healthy fruits and vegetables, cooking and inventing new recipes. In every meal I prepare, I think of how it will nurture my body and soul, as well as the people I love. When my mother said there was more of me to love, she could not have known how big I would grow. Not in my height or my age or any of those things, those usual things, but in my love. When I am kind to others in this world, my love is so big that it blooms for me like a flower opens itself to the sun. I imagine everyone feeling warm from my love, my color, and my special soul. And this love enfolds all of us because in loving you, I feel happy too. There is more of me to love because of the love I have for you. The end. Thank you so much. I'm not going to need help to get up from here. Oh, lady knees.
We do have some children exiting, yes? Yes. Let's sing them out. As you leave this space, know that you belong. Know that you are not alone. Know that you are loved. One more time. As you leave this space, know that you belong. Know that you are not alone. Know that you are loved. Now is a time when we collect our offering of financial resources for the good of this community. We know there are many ways to give back to this congregation, and we encourage you to find a way that works for you. For giving of financial support, your money or checks put in the plate for today will be used to fund everyday operation of this congregation. Any pocket change or other money that you designate for Change online or by putting them in the white envelopes in the pews will be sent to this month's selected Change for Change organization, the Unitarian Universalist Disaster Relief Fund. Your donations to this fund allows the UUA to respond flexibly to current disaster needs as well as to new emergency situations as they arise. The Disaster Relief Fund disperses grants to UU congregations and recognized UU nonprofit entities. Our Disaster Relief Fund is part of a covenant between the UUA and individual congregations, between congregations who give generously and those in need, and with our community partners. Through this work, we are able to embody our faith and values. More info is on your screen about how to give online, and anyone can use the mobile app Vanco Mobile. Please know that if this is your first time with us, there is no expectation that you give anything other than a yellow contact form or letting us know how you found us and how we can support you. The offering will now be gratefully accepted. This is you, right? And we invite Heath and the choir. This is a little unusual and very special to present the music for the offering today.
A correction in the program. This song is actually written by Dr. John and Dr. Holmes. As a New Orleans song, so that since Mardi Gras is on Tuesday, and about bringing some joy that comes along with our commitment to making a better world. It also manifests that New Orleans saying, sometimes it's just too hot to play more than two chords. There you go. Okay, here we go. And make a better world. Make a better world. Make a better world. Make a better world.
Oh, the world we know was built on skill, but skill alone don't count. We're
Definitely had that Dr. John flavor. Thank you so much, Heath and Restoration Singers. Funny that I consider myself to be a very trusting person. I say that because I've been let down by a fair amount of people. I have often said that I'm not a suspicious person. I believe what you tell me unless I'm hit over the head by something that doesn't add up. So it seems contradictory to say that I'm a trusting person because I've had trust tested and sometimes broken beyond repair. I wonder if I'm so trusting because I want to trust. Are we wired to trust? From Psychology Today. Recent neuroscience research on the mechanisms of trust suggests that human brains are naturally prone to trusting others. In one study, brain regions associated with positive emotions and decision-making lit up when someone trusted a close associate to play a game fairly, indicating that feelings of trust trigger social reward centers in the brain. What are ways to build trust in a relationship? Romantic partners, friends, or family members can build trust in the relationship through mutual respect, open, honest communication, engaging in an equal amount of give and take, and gradually displaying more vulnerability around each other. Following through on promises consistently also helps to build trust over time. That very important word, vulnerability. What comes first, vulnerability or trust? Showing your vulnerability means sharing yourself to connect with and help others. My life as a singer, songwriter, and performer is very much tied to vulnerability, and I am most vulnerable when I am performing in a space meant for listening, particularly when I sing a song that I wrote or one that conveys a lot of emotion. Vulnerability provides a kind of litmus test for connection with an audience. There is a trust between artist and audience. That is why it feels so spiritual and uplifting. Why do we trust family members, friends, and coworkers? It's because over time, their behavior has led us to count on them, and this is reciprocal. We can sometimes easily trust a stranger, depending on what their role is. I trust a musician, you can relate to this, Heath. I trust a musician recommended to me to play well on a gig. And I can trust the concierge of a hotel to suggest a great restaurant in a city with which I'm not familiar. There are countless examples of how we can trust people we don't know personally. We all know that they have a job to fulfill and trust that they do it well. Trust in a person in our lives is a decision. We come to expect things from the people we have put our trust in. Trust can be broken in small and large ways. It can be rebuilt in a short time, or it might take a while to rebuild. Sometimes trust is irrevocably, I knew I would mess up that word, irrevocably broken. We might be wired to trust, but trust is a conscious decision. We decide how much to trust, and depending on how a particular relationship goes, we increase or decrease it. Fully trusting someone usually takes time, which is why instantly trusting someone can be suspect and lead to problems. We have to learn about a person's reliability, competence, and intentions to have reasonable confidence in trusting them. Also, our past interactions with people can significantly impact how much we trust someone new in our life. Sadly, some people avoid having to trust anyone because of past disappointments. How is trust applied to our UU covenants? Sharon is now going to share that with you.
Okay. Good morning. I'm Sharon Fisher, your worship associate for today's service. I use she, her pronouns. I've been a UU for about 40 years with 5 different congregations and have been a member of this congregation for about 8 years. The theme for today's service is trust and covenants. Unitarian Universalists say that we are a covenantal faith, but what does that mean? In contrast to many other faiths, We do not have creeds or require memorization of specific sacred texts or prayers to define who we are and what we believe in. Instead, we focus our spirituality on who we are in relationship to ourselves, each other, and our world, which calls us to imagine what has not yet been imagined in order to create beloved community. If you go to the UUA website, and look up covenants, you'll see, quote, "Covenant is the silk that joins Unitarian Universalist congregations, communities, and individuals together in a web of interconnection. The practice of promising to walk together is the precious core of our creedless faith. Covenant is both a noun and a verb. It can be a written agreement among individual community members promising to behave in certain ways. It can mean to engage in mutual promises with spirit and other people and communities. Creating and agreeing to a covenant can be an extremely effective tool for building a foundation of trust. By creating shared expectations around the behaviors we want to cultivate, we become closer to creating the beloved community. A covenant is also a positive expression of healthy behavior, so that leaders have more clarity in identifying and responding to disruptive behavior," end quote. Covenants provide guardrails and guidelines for how we want to be in connection with each other. They help us recognize when we have fallen out of covenant with each other and how we choose to return to right relationships in respectful ways. They also encourage us to celebrate when we know we are in sacred space with each other, living out our UU values. Trust has to be earned over time, not instantly given. This is especially true when people in a relationship have had a past history of betrayal or trauma. You may be in this group along with me. Without safety, we cannot build trust. Without trust, we cannot be vulnerable. Without vulnerability, we cannot honestly share our emotions. Without sharing our emotions, we cannot create love or beloved community that is durable over time. So what does that look for us who show up at UUs of Mount Airy? And how do covenants help us actively live our spirituality on our daily lives? I'd like to actually see a raise of hands, even including the audience at home, if you're there, to raise your hand if you've ever participated in building or creating any covenants that you know of at the UUs of Mount Airy. I just want you to sort of look around and say thank you to everybody who's been a part of this process. And I'd like all of you who raised your hands to look around at those who might not be familiar with covenants. And I really strongly encourage you to meet up with each other after the service and have a longer conversation, because we're just going to be able to hit the tip of the iceberg today. And it's a long conversation to have. But I appreciate that you're all here and interested in that. So at UUs of Mount Airy, we have 3 main areas where we have covenants. And some of you may be totally familiar with this, and some of you may think, what the heck is she talking about? Our main covenant that we have is we have a UUs of Mount Airy covenant that you can find in your order of service. Unfortunately, it's missing the last sentence, so I encourage you all to go to the UUs of Mount Airy website and look it up. Look up the full thing, and take time, to review it every now and then. Because, let's see, the one that's in our order of service that you can see today is the last time it was revised and voted on. That was in June 12 of 2022. I believe our first covenants go back to the 1980s, but I'm not 100% sure on that, so I defer to our historians from last Sunday to tell us about that. But we can look that up. And so covenants are not written in stone, like, our prayers and things that are creeds. Their covenants are living documents meant to be revised, updated, and discussed on a regular basis so that they grow as we grow and learn. Another area where we have covenants is, since 2020, we've been, members of this congregation have been involved in something called Beloved Conversations within and among. And each of those groups at various times have had to create their own covenant, and it's different for each group. And they get updated at least on a yearly basis. So we have a practice of checking in at the beginning of each of our meetings, which is twice a month right now, to see how each of us are doing and whether anyone has any joys or concerns about honoring our covenant since our last meeting. This is an integral part of our creating safety among our members. The third area was what I read this morning, our land acknowledgement. We have a land acknowledgement. We are also working on a labor acknowledgement. This is a labor of love in progress, and we appreciate your input. It's part of our reparations work. Our reparations work with our Indigenous and Black siblings, where there has been a long history of broken promises, stolen land, and stolen sweat equity, including up to our present-day Jim Crow laws. When trust has been broken, we need to be truly present with deep listening skills for those who have been harmed, and do that consistently over a long period of time. Our land acknowledgement is also a covenant to the land and the waters we live on and our planet. I'd like to offer some practical applications for tools that help us recognize when we are in or out of covenant. So I'm going to show, hopefully there are going to be some slides. This comes from me being a licensed clinical social worker for 30 years and doing couples and individual work. But somewhere along the line, you might have heard of John and Julie Gottman. And they created the Gottman Institute, and they came up with something called the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. They studied, for over 50 years, they've done deep, deep research on couples. And they've gotten it down to the point where they can observe a couple interacting for 2 minutes and decide in that 2 minutes whether this relationship has a good chance of surviving or not, based on these 4 horsemen and how frequently they show up. There are, fortunately, remedies to all of this, antidotes and remedies, which we can all learn and practice, and I get caught in them myself from time to time, and I have to go back to this chart and remind myself. So do we have the slide? Here's the first one. Okay, first combination is, the first horseman is criticism, verbally attacking or the other person's personality or character. The antidote to this is a gentle startup. Talk about your feelings using I statements and express a positive need. For example, I know your mother's coming for dinner this week, and I'm feeling a little anxious about that because when she shows up, she often criticizes me, and I just feel really uncomfortable, and you stay silent. What I would really appreciate is if you could let her know that that's not okay, and then I'll know you'll have my back. That might be a more gentle startup than, you never have my back. Your mother is always blah, blah, blah. Just an example. The next one is contempt. Contempt, attacking the person with their self or their intent, with the intent to insult or abuse. This is assuming the absolute worst of the other person. They couldn't possibly do anything wrong, and they have the worst intentions on the planet, and you're going to fix that. The antidote is build a culture of appreciation. Remind yourself of your partner's or the other person's positive qualities. Get curious about what their positive qualities are, and find gratitude for positive actions. This is where we practice gratitude in bucket loads if we can. Next slide. Defensiveness. Victimizing yourself. You're attacking me, and you do this to ward off perceived attacks and reverse the blame. Like, it's not my fault, it's your fault. You did it first. No, you did it first. No, you did it first. And the antidote is to take responsibility. I accept my partner's perspective and offer an apology for any wrongdoing. This takes lots of practice in deep listening skills. We're all working on it. Next slide is stonewalling. Okay, stonewalling is to withdraw and avoid conflict and convey disapproval, distance, and separation. I'm not speaking to you. I'm not going to speak to you for the rest of the week. You can just stand there and I will go la, 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 and I do not care. Thank you very much. Okay, the antidote is take a break. This is the time when walking away for a short period of time could be a good practice. Take a break and spend some time centering, grounding, breathing, whatever it is that helps you get back into your center space where you can find your spirit and your love, and do something that's distracting. It could be music, that's one of my favorites, and movement until you can find your center again and breathe, and then try to see if you and the other person are ready to re-engage. That's not an all-exhaustive list, but those are the 4 ways we most frequently fall out of covenant. And it's not just about your relationship with your significant other or your family members. It turns out, when they did the research, it goes for systems, for large organizations and corporations and other things like churches and congregations. So I put this up here with the idea that maybe we could use this as a cheat sheet every now and then to check in with ourselves and each other. So, call to action. Based on this brief introduction to covenants, and what questions do you have? How would you most like to be involved in living in covenant at the UUs of Mount Airy? We know that diversity is our strength, and yet honestly, we have much more work to do to become the diverse and welcoming, beloved community we dream for. The board is exploring the option of creating a right relations team to help guide us in living out our UU values and covenants in this congregation. We welcome you to join us in growing trust through covenantal practices in whatever ways you can imagine. Thank you for your attention and intention. May it be so.
Thank you, Sharon. Okay. Thank you. I want to give a special thank you again to Heath Allen for working very hard on the music and with the Restoration Singers. Thank you so much, Heath. And Sharon and I would like to give a lot of thanks to Steve Workman for working with us and helping us put the technical part of it together. I call him Dr. Workman now. And also to Kathy McCoubry for her support in putting this service together. We are really very, very grateful. Thank you so much. Thank you. As we get ready to extinguish our chalice and end our time together this morning, please remember to stick around for announcements in the slides and downstairs during coffee hour. Folks on Zoom are invited to check in with each other and one of the ministers, well, afterwards. For more information on what's going on in the life of this congregation, you can check the weekly newsletter that comes out on Thursdays, or you can peruse the insert in your order of service. Finally, check out our website and social media pages for more important updates. I'm going to invite Sharon to extinguish the chalice. The words to extinguish the chalice are from Angeline C. Jackson. May we remember that trust, like love, grows in small amounts, in promises kept and confidences held, in boundaries respected and amends made, in showing up again and again. May we be brave enough to risk trust, patient enough to build it slowly, and gentle with ourselves and others when it breaks. May it be so. Our closing hymn is "We Shall Lift Each Other Up." We're inviting the Restoration Singers up again for us. Thank you so much.
Some of us, anyway. We would like
A small group of them.
We'd like you to sing along with this as a chant. It gets repetitive, so you'll catch on. I don't know if we have time to do all the verses or not.
I think we do. I think we do. I think we do.
Do you have time to do
Yeah,
them all?
I think so.
Okay, just double checking, because we were gonna, if we were running over time, we were gonna cut some of them out. You're okay? Okay. So the only one we're missing is spirit. You'll get the hang of it. And I'm an alto, so it starts low. Sorry. Okay. Humble yourself in the eyes of the mother. You gotta bend down low and humble yourself in the eyes of the mother. You gotta know what she knows, and we shall
Thank you so much, Sharon and singers. Thank you all for being with us today. I'm so grateful that Sharon did this service with me. I hope you've learned more about our UU covenants and how trust relates to them. I want to invite everyone to conversation and fellowship after the service in our basement coffee hour. And in keeping with the tradition of Mardi Gras, here is the closing music from Heath. Thank you again, Heath.